Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Do I have anything in this? No. I just thought it'd be a fun little holder thing for the mic, so I didn't have to hold it in my hand the whole time. I don't remember where. I think I got this at like a little stationery store in Alexandria, Virginia, if I recall correctly. Um, and just to go through the books, it has The Odyssey, Jane Eyre, Secret Garden, Little Women, Wuthering Heights. The movie is loosely inspired. It's not the movie. Anyway, it's not the movie about the book. Anyway, that's besides the point. Where was I? Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice, War and Peace, The Wind in the Willows, The Wizard of Oz, Les Miserables, The Sense and Sensibility, Gulliver's Travels, and Bright Expectations. I'm almost tempted. I'm almost tempted to get the books on this cup so I can be like, hey, look, I have the books that are on this cup. That'd be a stupid reason to get it though. Well, it wouldn't, but at the same time, it kind of would. Anyway, that is besides the point, because as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, we are going over another book buying ban, and that's what we're here to do. So, oh, damn it. Oopsie daisy, I had to pick that up real quick. So I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was quick. I'm trying to record from up here, so I'm trying to see if I could do that for a video like this. I'm just doing this like in the intro where I have my computer off to the side. I can do it. So technically I could do book tags here too. We're getting somewhere, you guys. We're getting somewhere. Anyway, this is a 2-month book buying ban. It's kind of like a general buying ban for a couple months to see how everything goes. But specifically, it is mainly focusing on book buying. Just because that is one of my biggest weak links when it comes to spending money, that and yarn for crochet. So that's why I'm saying it's a general buying ban, but overall it's like mainly book buying ban, and it is what it is. On the one hand, who would actually willingly do this to themselves? And on the other hand, there are other ways we can support authors. So that's what we're doing here. So it's been a little bit since I've done a book buying ban. So I'm going to go over the rules real quick. It's currently April 30th. So this is going to be from May to June, as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail. So I might do a slight cheat kind of near the end of June, just with how things are going. I might wrap it up a little bit closer to the end of June, again, depending on how things are going. But the rules, as is the case with the previous one and this one, rules are down below in the description. Number 1, let me fix my light. That's not the actual rule. Okay, now it's not so harsh on my face. Rule number 1, no buying, obviously, for the duration of the ban, whether it's a day, a week, a month, in this case 2 months. Rule number 2 is I'm going to be focusing on borrowing from the library. Libby, Hoopla, my physical libraries that are close by. I have a couple that are, the closest one is the Encino Tarzana library, which is like a 15-minute walk. That is the closest one, but I do have others that are within a 5 to 15-minute drive. So focus on borrowing books from the library. Number 3 is if I'm at a bookstore, like I can still pick up books, because usually what I try to do is, I didn't do this last time, or the time before when I went to Barnes & Noble. Usually what I try to do is I'll have a basket or something, and I pick up books that are of interest for me, and then I'll sit down with them and kind of go through them a little bit, and then kind of do a little bit of a call as to whether or not which ones I do or do not want to buy. But anyway, rule number 3 is if I'm at a bookstore, I have to sit down with any of the books that I'm interested in and read roughly the first chapter, or at the very least read the first 10 to 15 minutes, 10 to 15 chapters, 10 to 15 pages, depending on the length of the chapter. If the chapter is long, then that range roughly. But I do have to sit with and read the books, at least a little bit of them, when I'm in the bookstore. Rule number 4 is that if it's something that I want immediately, I'll look at the wait list and borrow from the library, physical or Libby, or borrow from Hoopla, because Hoopla tends to be pretty immediate. But again, it's a focus on borrowing from the library. And then rule number 5 is if I don't need to read it immediately, just looking at Libby or the physical library and going with being waitlisted for a hold. So that's rule 5. Rule number 6 is go through my physical books at the start and end of each band and write down any unread titles, which I will do in a moment. Go through any physical books at the start and end of the band of the video, write down any unread titles. And then rule number 7 is go through physical books at the start and end of the band and see if there's anything that I can unhaul or get rid of, whether I'm gifting it or finding it for the library or donating it somewhere or trying to resell it. See if I can unhaul it. Number 8 is no pre-ordering during the band itself. And I feel like that's kind of a given, because it's like even if it's like not immediately coming, you're still technically buying a book, even if it's pre-order. So no pre-ordering. Number 9 is if I have any gift, like if it's around my birthday, like obviously May and June are not my birthday, but if I receive like any gift cards during the time of the band, again, like birthday, Christmas, whatever freaking reason, save the gift cards to use after the band as a reward. And then the very last rule is buying a book as a gift does count as buying a book. Now, this one isn't like a hard and set rule. It's more like it counts as buying a book, and it'll kind of set me back a little bit. Now, I do have some notes. They're not necessarily rules, but they're things that I have in place. They're things I have in place as kind of like guidelines. They're not necessarily rules, but guidelines for either leading up to the band, during the band, and after. It's not hard and set rules, but guidelines. Rule number 10 is sort of like a guideline, but rule number 10 is sort of a guideline, but it's sort of a rule, but that's why I put it as rule number 10, kind of as like the bridge between the two. But first note, the first guideline: pre-orders that arrive and or ship during the ban does not count for that specific day, month, or week. I do have a pre-order that will be coming in June, coming near the end of June. So I did not buy it in June, though. I bought it, I think, in April, the weekend of like the World International Book Day, I think. I pre-ordered that through Barnes & Noble because they were having a double stamp sale that weekend. So, because that is coming during the ban, but I didn't pre-order it during the ban, we're good there. I have my May Book of the Month box coming during the ban, but because I did that before the ban, I think the books were released like the 28th or 29th. The May books were released April 28th or April 29th, and because I did that on that day specifically, that doesn't count, even though it's the May books. Since I did it before May, it doesn't count. However, for June, depending on, like, I know that my account, my renewal for the next month and my credits come through, I think, between the 22nd and the 25th of each month, and I have 2 credits. So for June, obviously I would have to skip it. I'm going to skip the month so that I can still keep the credits, and then it would still go through for um, June. I could still, and part of this one too, part of why I'm doing this as well is book of the month. I'm trying to build up my credits so that kind of later on down the line, maybe closer to my birthday or Christmas, I can have like a little bit of a splurge month. Where I've built up the credits. But again, I think I can only get like 5 books in one box, including that month selection. So this way I can build up the credits a little bit leading up to that. But for June, I would have to skip it, which I'm going to do. I'm not going. Excuse me. I'm not going to pause it just because again I want to build up the credits. But like I said, third time, maybe the fourth time, I'm going to skip June. And like I think I mentioned earlier, I'm going to have to figure out, or I was starting to say this earlier, I'm going to have to figure out when exactly in June will I want to end this, because like I said, my book of the month subscription, oh, my hand is shaking, jeez. My book of the month subscription goes through between the 22nd and the 25th of the month, and usually that's leading up for the next month's credits to use for the upcoming month. So for June, it would be so for the credits coming in at the end of June, that would be for July. So yeah, I would have to kind of see when I would want it to end, or I would just not choose my books. It really depends on what books interest me, because if it's like an early release, I'd want to get it sooner. So like I'll figure it out at the end of the month, at the end of June. But anyway, so that kind of like leads into my next note, where it's like depending on the duration of the ban, my book of the month may or may not count, and I need to skip it if it counts. My May book of the month box does not count, but June will. So I'll skip it. July won't count, but I have to, like I said, I have to kind of decide when to end it so that I can buy the books or get the books in the box. So the next one is renewing my Barnes & Noble premium membership does not count, because that's the membership and not necessarily buying a book. Thankfully, though, my subscription renews. The charge goes through on my card, I think in February sometime, and then my actual membership, because the charge will go through the month before if you have it on auto renew. And my premium membership, I had started it up in March 2025. So Barnes & Noble premium membership renewing, that does not count. Next note is if I need to get someone a gift during the book buying ban, get a gift card. It can be Barnes & Noble, it can be another bookstore, but get a gift card, because buying a book would count, but buying a gift card for books would not count. Logic. The next one is if I've read 3 books, I'm allowed to buy 1 book post-ban. So 3 books, 3 read, I get to buy 1. 6 read, I get to buy 2, and so on. So I'll keep track of how many books I've read during this ban, and I will let you know how many I can buy at the end of this ban, and I'll take you along with me to buy those books. So, but depending on how many books I get in my book of the month box for July, that will count towards the books that I'm able to buy post-ban. So the next one is if I break the book buying ban, I have to read 6 books. This one is a little bit wiggly. It's not a hard and set rule or even guideline. But I have to read, I have 6 here, 6 books before I can add another one to my to buy list post ban. This one in my mind, again, I've written down 6, so there's a definitive number, but in my mind it's kind of like the 4 to 6 range. So this one's a little bit wiggly. The next note is the above two, if I read 3 books, I'm allowed to buy 1 post-ban. If I break it, then I have to read 6. Those 2 end once I buy the book, once the book or books are purchased post-ban. So let's say I read 6 books, and I get to buy 2. Once those 2 books are purchased, then everything just resets for the next book buying ban. And then the next one is if I cannot find a book anywhere, libraries, physical, or Libby or Hoopla, I am allowed to get a post ban. Now, this one kind of ties in. This next one ties into this one, so I'm going to mention it too. But if it's a manga that I can't find, I can buy 1 volume at a time outside of the ban and outside of future bans. So basically, this is just because I've noticed that like a lot of manga in my area at least are a little bit harder to find because the Encino Tarzana branch is a smaller library. Like I can still find manga, but it's like it's a smaller library, so it has a smaller selection, and I would need to try to visit other local libraries. But manga is a little bit harder to find in physical libraries, at least the ones close to me, as well as in Libby and Hoopla. So that's why I've included that one. And also, there are just some books that are harder to find at physical libraries in Libby and Hoopla. So that's why it's like I can buy them, just buy them post ban. So the next one is look into library sales and events. I know my local library, the Encino Tarzana branch. There's a little store. I didn't go into it when I did my like little library trip, which I will link down below in the description, which I'm prepping right now at least. So I noticed it's in my last one, but like I've really been trying not to buy too much. My last 2 Barnes & Noble trips are not the best example of that. Like I said, books are my weakness. But I'm going to try to go into that little library store the next time. And because like usually, even if they don't have like a set store, they'll have a little section, or they'll have like dedicated days or time frames for library sales. So support your local libraries. Anyway, the next one is hang out at a bookstore or libraries more, which I am starting to do. I had my library trip. I am trying to spend a little bit more time in Barnes & Noble when I go. I am trying to figure out some more independent bookstores to go to. So we're making some progress on that front. And then the next one is, and the last one for like the notes / guidelines section, is that donating to little free libraries is also an option, especially if I'm trying to like unhaul books or figure out what books to unhaul. So donating to little free libraries, LFLs, is an option. And if I take it, like the thing with the little free libraries is there's no guarantee. If you see a book that you like or that you want to try, there's no guarantee that that little free library will have that book the next time you visit that little free library. And there isn't a guarantee that a little free library close to you, if you have like multiple close to you, which I do, there isn't a guarantee that any of the others close to you would have it. So that's why I've added this one. If I take a book from the little free library during their book buying ban, I haven't bought the book, but I have added a book to my repertoire. And if that is the case, where I take a book from an LFL during a book buying ban, I have to put 2 books into an LFL. So that is the notes, guidelines, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to set my computer aside, and then I'm going to count the number of books that I have on my shelf. I've done this sort of recently in relation to when I'm recording this video and when it's going up, but I have added some new books to my shelves. So we're going to do that real quick, and I'll give you the statistics for what is read and unread. And also, too, before I forget, this number is likely to change because I'm also in the middle of a reading vlog. Not my Read It or Unhaul videos, but my Roll of the Dice reading vlogs. And I'm in the middle of part 2, so this number is likely to change. The number of books I have during this is not likely to change, but the number of books I have read is likely to change by the end of this video. So, because I will have to do this count again at the end of the video. So, and at the end of the video is when I will do the kind of like little potential code if there are any books that I need to unhaul, get off my shelves, which I don't think that'll be the case. But yeah, I don't think I'll need to unhaul any, but I do have one that I'm borrowing from my friend, so I'm gonna actually set that one aside because I'm not gonna count that one. I'm not gonna count it as part of my reads, but I'm gonna quickly count through this stuff, and I'll come back to you in a moment. Okay, so you can't really see it because some stuff is blocking it, but I have a movie playing on a DVD player because it's blackout day and trying not to stream, trying not to buy. So far, we're succeeding. Trying not to be on social media. This doesn't count because I'm just recording in advance. I haven't been on social media today. But, so basically, what had happened was I saw a lot of that stuff last night and then I started feeling kind of off. I started getting a migraine. So, I didn't do the count last night, but I've done it now. And I have everything written down. I'll post it. And basically, this isn't including my audiobooks that I have because I do have quite a few audiobooks through Libby FM, but this count isn't including Libby FM books. Although my books read in 2026 so far, at the time I'm recording this part at least, that will include audiobooks, but for my total books numbers, that's just counting my physical bookshelf. So I have 182 books in total on my shelves here, and then I have Lord of the Rings section right over here, or like Tolkien / Middle Earth. And in total, out of that, I've read 153 of these books. And I did include 2 extras because I am getting volume 3 for Magic Knight Earth, the paperback. I'm getting that soon. It's in the mail. It's going through delivery. And then I've pre-ordered this, and that's coming in like late June. So I've included those just because they're bought and paid for already. Well, the pre-order is like sort of bought and paid for, but it's pre-ordered, so I'm including it. So the 182 includes that. These numbers do include those 2 books, but 182 total books, 153 read, and 29 unread. So percentages, I've read 84% of my physical bookshelves, and then I haven't read 16%, which is actually pretty good considering everything. It's really good. And specifically for books that I've read up until this point, it's May 1st right now. And for books I've read up until this point in 2026, so between January and now, I've read 41 books, and I'm currently reading 2, so I'm going to include that in the overarching number. So like 43 books that are going to be soon, either are on my read pile or going to be soon on my read pile. 43 books. And then for what I've owned at the time, like the way I've broken this down is like owned at the time of reading versus borrowed at the time of reading. The number of books that I read and that I owned at the time that I read them, that was 22 books, 22 of the 43 books, and about 51% of those books that I've read so far this year are books that I've owned at the time of reading. And then for the books that I've borrowed at the time of reading, it's been about 21 books, about 49%. I didn't include this one yet just because I haven't read it yet, and I didn't want to include like TBR books in the statistic, at least in the books read statistics. So those are the statistics. I'll check in occasionally. I'll probably do like the unboxing for this video for Magic Knight Earth and then Under the Oak Tree Volume 3. So just let I check in with you, and I'll check in a couple more times throughout this bookbinding ban to let you know how it's gone. So I actually, I just stopped recording and I realized I'm getting 2 books in my Book of the Month books. I'll include those at the end, and just because I already did that, I had to count it a couple of times, so those will be included. And again, it's not going to change too much just because it's 2 books and I haven't read them yet, so it's going to go in the overarching, and it would add to the unread side. So just wanted to update that. I did realize that I forgot to include those 2 books for Book of the Month, but yeah, I'll include that in the statistic at the end of the vlog, so I'll update the statistics there. I have a package from Barnes & Noble. These ones are always a little bit of a bitch to open up, but we're gonna do our best, because the thing is it doesn't have one of those tab things to open it up, but we will get there. Maybe. So it's again, it doesn't have one of those tab things, so it's I can't really, well, get it. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so sticky. I know exactly what this is. We set it right up here. I talked about this. Magic Night Earth Part 2, Volume 3. I had to buy this through the Barnes & Noble website, through the app, because it was not letting me, not that it wasn't letting me, but it was not at any of my local Barnes & Nobles. So, I had to get it through the website, 1, because it would add to my Barnes & Noble rewards, my stamps, and 2, you can see right here, this is part 1, volumes 1, 2, 3, part 2, but we now finally have the full complete series. It looks so nice. It looks so nice. Guys. Okay. I'm trying to set this up in a way that looks like this. That I can now do the reading vlog. There we go. Oh my god, look at that. Anyway, I can now do the reading vlog. Okay, so I'm sitting here looking at my bookshelf. I'm not gonna hold this because I'm feeling kind of lazy. But I'm sitting here looking at my bookshelf because I have a stack of books that are going to be unhauled by the end of this. It's a little stack. It's not a whole lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 books in total. One of which I already know I'm gifting to my friend, and then the other 3. Out of the other 3, another one I might give to another friend, and then the other 2 I might try to donate to my local library or to little free libraries. I've been really wanting to set up a little free library, but they are so expensive to set up. So it's I could do a DIY version one and then register it, which might be a possibility. But I'm looking at my bookshelf because something I've been trying to do, like I talked about at the beginning of this video, is trying to have my bookshelves represent what I've really enjoyed, represent me. But also part of it is that, and also part of it is that I'm trying to make sure that I have diversity represented on my bookshelf, because that's something I've talked about on my channel too. It's reading diversity and reading outside of your experience. And I feel like I'm doing a good job with having it to be diverse, especially Book of the Month. That's where Book of the Month has really come into help, because I think, let's see. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 16 authors on my book launch shelf that would fit under the that would fit under like diverse reading and diverse authors who didn't have the same experience as me. And then obviously I have my manga and manga shelves, which usually those are Japanese, Korean, or Chinese authors. So I think I've done a pretty good job with having diversity on my shelves. Um, this is where I'm coming to a little bit of dawn, because I know I could do better with having more diversity on the shelves. Like a lot of the authors that I have on the shelves, like I mentioned, Japanese, Korean, Chinese, and then I have Black authors, quite a few Black authors on my shelves. Um, what is I'd have to check Elizabeth Lynn's background. Um, but I do have some AAPI authors and Asian authors on my shelf. I have Latinx, Latine authors. I have Black authors. And I know I could do better with having indigenous authors on my shelf. I think I have one book, and like this is where I'm kind of debating a little bit, because I want to keep the book by the indigenous authors that I have on the shelf. It's the anthology, Never Was That Night. I want to keep that. So yeah, obviously I want to hold on to Never Was That Night, and obviously I need to build out some indigenous authors. I do have an author that I'm hoping to get some books from in the near future, obviously. Not anytime soon, because I'm on a book buying ban. Stephen Graham Jones. I'm pretty sure he's indigenous. I did enjoy Buffalo Hunter Hunter. It was a little bit confusing at times, but that's not like a bad confusing. It was just a little confusing at times. But all this to say, like, I would kind of let you know your thoughts if you've made it this far in the video and have thoughts about this. Like, this is where like my little bit of conundrum is, like unhauling books by diverse authors, like by authors who okay, this would be more of like a white centric problem. But if you're unhauling books by authors who do not have the same lived experience as you, whether they're a different ethnic or racial background or different sexuality, part of the LGBTQIA plus community when you're not, if you're unhauling books from those kinds of authors, like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Obviously it really depends on like what exactly you're doing with the book, but like, what would you do in that scenario if you're thinking about unhauling those kinds of books, especially coming from like, I think for me at least, I don't want to misstep. Like I said, obviously I'm not going to get rid of this, and a lot of books that I have on my shelves are books I already really enjoyed. So it's like, what would be your advice for that kind of a scenario where it's like, is it a situation where it's like just go ahead and haul it? Is it a situation of like unhaul it but donate it to a certain kind of place? Is it just don't like, because it's like, obviously I feel like the answer obviously is not to not unhaul it. The answer wouldn't be just to hold on to it. Is there like I'm part of the LGBTQIA plus community, I'm pan, and like I wouldn't necessarily mind people unhauling books by pansexual authors, about pansexual people, about queer people. Obviously it would really depend from that specific group. So it's like, is there like a certain etiquette going about this? Because it's like I don't know. And like I would want to be as respectful as possible if this kind of scenario were to come up with unhauling certain books and donating them. Usually, I always try to donate. My first step is to usually donate to my local library because they have a little section for free books, and usually I just stick them there. And I try to stick them in a nice place where they can be seen, but it's like not messing up the stack that's already there. That's my first instinct, and then second instinct is to I don't know if I mentioned it in this video or in another video, but like if I'm thinking about like reselling it on like Mercari or Penguin Books or another or like eBay, obviously not selling it for more than market value. So like whatever the price is on the back of the book. But like, what would be the like? Is there a certain protocol? Because like I said, like with me, I've lived a very privileged life because I am white, fully. And something I don't talk about a lot just because I don't like it is that I am part Japanese. I'm an eighth Japanese, but because I'm white, like that's not something I talk about a lot because it doesn't really show up in my features. So, um, because I'm white, because I'm privileged, because of being white, and even though I'm pan, I still have the privilege of being cis. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but hopefully that makes sense. So if you've made it this far in the video and kind of understand what I'm getting at, let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are. And by this point, I have added another book to my unhaul stack. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books in total that I'll be unhauling by the end of the video. So, yeah. I might add one other depending on how things go. There is one that I've been thinking about unhauling, not because I didn't enjoy it, but just because like I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, and I think other people can enjoy it more. And I'm not gonna pick it up again, most likely, unless I'm like we're pissing my butt off impulsively. So yeah, and also, which kind of sucks. I realized so Natasha Lester, she's one of my auto-buy authors. Oh, Jesus Christ. I almost dropped a bunch of her books. So, a bunch of her books right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I have like 2 other her books on my shelf that I do not feel good. She came out with another book, and it's apparently like Jane inspired. I'm like, I feel so out of the loop. But her book is coming out. It's like the Chateau on something, Sunset maybe. I'll have to double check. But I just learned about it like yesterday. Today is like Sunday, May 3rd, and I learned about it like yesterday. And it's coming out in June. And I put myself on a book buying ban, and I wish I had put myself on this book buying ban after learning about this because then I could have pre-ordered it. And then I could have been like, oh, I have 2 pre-orders coming in. But it's okay. I kind of doubt my Barnes & Noble will have it because my Barnes & Noble like did not have this one for the longest time, and I kept forgetting about it. So, guys, chat down below in the comments. If you've made it this far in the video, comment down below asking me if I've gotten Natasha Lester's new book yet, because this is going to be out in July. And it's like the Chateau on Sunset, I think it's called. Apparently it's Jane Eyre inspired, which is kind of like a deviation from her usual books because the books that she's done, the Paris Secret, and this is not in like publishing order, or I can try to do it in publishing order actually. Paris Secret, The Paris Orphan, Paris Secret, The Riviera House. These aren't her first books. She does have some other books that were backlisted, and I did try one of them. It's like I didn't mind it. It's just too romance heavy for my tastes, whereas like her recent work starting with the Paris Seamstress are the ones that I really love and gravitate towards. So, in publishing order, for starting with Paris Seamstress, Paris Orphan, Paris Secret, The Riviera House, The Three Lives of Ox St. Pierre, The Disappearance of Astrid Ricard, and then the Mademoiselle Alliance. So those 7, and then I think she has like 3 other books. Like, these ones are all very much have like a Paris American dual timeline, where it's like you have one timeline and it all connects back to Paris somehow. You have one time in America, you have one timeline where it's usually during World War II, and you have Americans probably going to like stopping by in Paris at some points, and then you have a second timeline, and again they're stopping by in Paris, maybe stopping in Australia. They're going like I like that. But apparently this book is again to a dual timeline, I'm pretty sure. But it's like not connected to World War II, I don't think. And it's not connected to Paris at all. So like I was reading some reviews and a lot of them were really great. One of the reviews I think was a 3-star review. It was saying how it's like not her usual and it didn't hit as well for them as her other books did, the ones that had like the Paris connection somehow. Hopefully that's not the case for me, and hopefully I'll love it just as much. But like, the thing is with the Mademoiselle Alliance, this one was the one that didn't hit as well for me. Maybe I just need to reread it. But like, this one was a single timeline, and I think largely her other books they were inspired by real people, by real women who fought during World War II. But it wasn't necessarily like one specific woman that these characters were based off of, whereas this was. And again, not that that's a bad thing, but I think that's what kind of didn't hit it for me, because it was just trying to tell her story in a fictionalized way, instead of just trying to create a fictional character, you know? So hopefully I like the new book. I feel so out of the loop, you guys, because it's like I'm just not learning about it. And like this is what happened with the Mademoiselle Alliance, where it's like I knew about it and then I forgot about it, and then I remembered and then I forgot, and then I remembered and then I forgot. And I think this came out. I only got this recently. This came out. I think it was like April 2025. So it's been a year since this one has come out, and like I didn't remember it until about June-ish of 2025, June, July, or later 2025. And I was like, okay, I need to find it. And then I went to the section that her books usually are in, and I saw it, so I was like, I'm grabbing it. And there were only like 2 copies. And now there aren't any, so I don't know if my local Barnes & Nobles will have the new book. Hopefully they will, because then I can get it. I might just still order it online, so I don't have to worry about getting it. And she is one of my auto-buy authors now, so at this point it's like, I will buy and read anything she publishes and enjoy anything she publishes. So after this book buying ban is over, once it hits like July 1st, oh my god, that will be Anime Expo. Ugh, I'm not going this year. Which is kind of a bummer, but excuse me, it's kind of a bummer, but at the same time I feel like I kind of need this. So I need like the full reset from Anime Expo. So if it will be one of the first books I buy post book buying ban. And yeah, it does look like a really pretty cover though, so I am looking forward to that. But with all of that said, I will see you all in my next little update. That's the update that I have for you all. I have like the 5 books in my unhaul pile, and so far we're doing pretty good. It is May 3rd. We're only 3 days into this. It's May 3rd, but so far we're doing pretty good with not having any. Well, there was a slight temptation with Natasha Lester's book, but when I reasoned it out initially, before recording this, like last night when I found out, I reasoned it out. I'm okay. I'll be fine. I can buy it post ban, and we'll be good. It'll be a little reward for getting through the ban. So with all that said, I will come back to you a little bit later in the month and give you a better update with what's going on. It's almost like they saw my comment about not having the label on the logo, or heard my comment about that, but probably not, since my channel is on the smaller side. But I like the fact that my channel is on the smaller side, because it means I get to connect with you all more. Anyway, my May Book of the Month box has arrived. If you're watching this in the book buying van video, I got this. I did the order for this box, I think like April 29th. So it's outside of the book buying van. And my Book of the Month goes there on like within last week, within the last 10 days of the month. I think I said like the 22nd or 23rd of the month. Usually between the 22nd and 25th. If you're watching this in the Book of the Month Roll the Dice reading vlog, you can ignore that bit. But I've already cut it because I started to record this and then realized you may have seen the label, so I was just like, I need to keep privacy. Okay. I'm going to get the 2 books out. I'm trying to figure out how to best show you guys the books. That works, I guess. I forgot about that. I forgot I got that one. I mean, I looked at my box and then I was like, yeah, Libra FM. It's looking at what to get with my credit as an audiobook. I forgot I got that one. So, that's fun. I'm gonna put this bit to you all, sort of. Today's been a rough day, okay? Okay, so this is a bookmark for the Centennial. It is Kon-Tiki by Thor Heyerdahl. It has an interesting cover. I like the colors. I'll have to look into that. We'll have to see. I'm just intrigued by the cover. I'm not saying I'll enjoy the book. But actually, what I can do for you guys, do that way. I'm still learning. We're getting there. Anyway, so for my book, there weren't any books for this month specifically that I was interested in. However, I decided to choose a member favorites because I wanted to get something and I didn't want to get this book. So, the member favorite I chose was Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. If you want to see the description for this, I'm going to give it in the Book of the Month Roll of the Dice reading vlog Book of the Month edition. I'll have like descriptions in that. So, Alchemy of Secrets has come out a few years ago, I want to say. Folklore 512. 2025. Oh, not a couple years ago, but last year. So this one seemed the most interesting to me, and I like the back. September 2025. So, okay. So, about half a year. A little over half a year. But, yeah, that's this one, Alchemy of Secrets, and then I added an add-on. Lady Tremaine by Rachel Hockhauser. And this one is basically Cinderella retelling. Obviously about our key villain. So I'm really interested in this one. So we will see. Etheldra Verity, Isolde Tremaine, Brimley. What a name. So this means I can start on the reading vlog, but I am reading Malice by John Grinnell, which is a chunky ass book. And I'm also trying to get through the series right here, Magic Knight Earth. So I'm going to get through this series and try to get through a bit more of Malice by John Gwynne before I hit the Book of the Month edition for the Roll of the Dice reading vlog. But yeah, these are the books, and this whole clip will be in both of the videos that I mentioned earlier. It's been a long day. The book buying van and then the roll of the dice reading book. So this clip will be in both of those. So have fun with that if you've seen one before seeing the other. But yeah, I'll see you all in my next update for whichever video. Okay, so a quick little insert here because I realized something. I was just uploading the Magic Knight Rares manga reread right here. I was uploading that to YouTube, and that's going up. It's going up before this video, but that's up already. I think it was July 16th, and I realized that I needed a couple more videos for July, and I was like, hey, this would be the perfect video, like a perfect little filler. Not that this is really a filler video because like there's purpose to it, but it's like this would be the perfect thing to fill out July with. So yeah, this is going up like late July. I'm not quite sure the exact date off the top of my head, but sometime July. So July 16th. But 7 days from July 16th, it's coming up the following Thursday. You know, whatever that is, based on when this is going up. July 23rd? July 23rd? That's when this is up. So I realized that would be perfect. So, and then I have my Book Talk Tuesdays for July coming out as well. I might need one more video for July, but we'll see. We'll work it out. But I thought I'd update you all with that. Okay, so I didn't know this until at this point of the video, but I've had to rework this a little bit, and I want to explain why. So at the beginning of this video, I'm going up until this point, basically, I've been saying 2 months, 2-month book buying ban, May through June. I'm still on the book buying ban for May, but I decided to condense it down to a single month. So, and the biggest reason for that is because I'm doing really well with my reading for May, and basically, when I do these book buying ban videos, I'm basically looking at. Let me fix this real quick. There we go. I'm basically looking at how many books have I finished within that specific month or time period, and it doesn't matter if I started the books before that time period. If I finish it within that time period, it'll count for that time period. And kind of like when you're like updating something to the Storygraph app, a book tracking app, when you mark, even if you start a book the month before, if you finish it the following month, it'll count for the following month. So even if in this case, like there was at least one book, maybe two, I think, that I started in April, and finished on the first or second day of May. So it counts towards my May reads. And I've kind of applied that logic to these book buying bans, because it's like if I finished a book during a book buying ban, then that counts towards the 3 books that I have to read to buy a single book. And I'm already at 8 books. I'm at 7 books. No, I'm at 6 books. Sorry. I'm at 6 books. I'm at 6 books, but I'm in like a really good reading mood right now, and I've been reading not necessarily quickly, but I've been reading pretty consistently. So I'm currently reading 3 books. I'm reading Malice, which I didn't grab, but that's okay. I'm reading Malice by John Gwynne, and then I'm reading The Attic Child by Lola J, and then I'm reading The Bone Thief by Vanessa Lilly. And I know that Malice is not going to count towards this because I think I'm at in between the 80 to 100 page mark. I'm somewhere between 80 and 100 pages. So it's like I know, and that's like 620 something pages, not including the acknowledgments and the author's note. So yeah, it's like once I finish, I'm most likely going to be able to finish. It's currently May 7th. So, and I've already finished 6 books. Between May 1st and today, I have marked 6 books. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, no, actually. let me rework this real quick, actually, because I realized I marked these three, but I didn't mark these three. So, one moment. Okay, so I fixed it. So, in total, what I've read in May is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've read 9 books in May, and part of that is because 6 of them were manga, so these are really easy to get through, which is why I like reading them. Well, that's not the only reason. I would say that's like 40% of the reason. But it really helps when you're reading, like, when you're in a book buying band and you've set yourself, like, I have to read X number of books. And this was super easy because Magic Knight Rare is like, this was like super easy to calculate into it because Magic Knight Rare, it's 6 volumes total, and part 1 is 3 volumes and part 2 is 3 volumes. So it was like super easy to calculate that with the read 3 by 1. So this made it 2 books. So basically, what I've read so far is what I've finished in April is The Lighthouse at the End of the Tunnel. At the End of the Tunnel. That would be an interesting book, actually. Book title. Anyway, The Lighthouse at the End of the World by Philip A. Sugars. The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Magic Knight Rare's Part 1, Volume 1, Magic Knight Rare's Part 1, Volume 2, and Magic Knight Rare's Part 1, Volume 3. And then Magic Knight Rare's Part 2, Volume 1, Part 2, Volume 2, and Magic Knight Rare's Part 2, Volume 3. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books already. And then Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber is the 9th book. So technically at this point I can buy 3 books. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I'm doing really well so far and I'm on a really good reading streak, and I would say like 60 to 75% of the reason why I'm narrowing this down to just May is because if I were to continue it to June, do 2 months, then that would be like a shit ton of books. And then that would mean I could very well get up to 12 here and then be able to buy 4. I could very well get up to 15, or even, I don't want to, like, this is just an example. I could very well get up to between 12 and 15 books within May, which would be a really good reading month. But, if I were to, I'm just saying that based on what I've read so far in May. And if I were to extend this to June, that could be like 20 books. Like, they could be like 21. So it's like I could be setting myself up to buy like 7, 8 books. And I'm trying to be like I've talked about on my channel recently. I have been trying to be, well, I may be talking about it in later videos depending on when this comes up. But I'm trying to be very conscious with my buying habits, especially when it comes to books, because I'm like, once I'm in a bookstore, I'm very happy. It's like, okay, oh, there's this book. Oh, the bookseller is telling me if I get this book, it's 50% off. I fall gullible to that 2 times in a row, which, like, I don't want to go through. I mean, I could very well go for a 3rd time's the charm, but like, I'm trying to be very conscious with my money habits and with my book buying habits, because this is my only bookshelf. I've said that quite a few times at this point in the video, I'm pretty sure. So it's like I need to be conscious with the space that I have, and I can arrange and rearrange to fit more books onto this bookshelf. But like, I don't want to have to be like arranging and rearranging just because I keep getting more books. And like I've also said a few times in this video and quite a few times on my channel at this point, is that I want my books to reflect. I want my books that I buy and that are on my bookshelf to reflect books that I currently really love and really enjoyed while reading them, and would want to ideally reread, even if I can't, because there are some books. Where is it? Here it is. Very similar covers. Paris Orphan. Ideally, I would love to reread this book, but I know it would emotionally break me because it emotionally broke me when I first read it. So it's like, it would like, I would want my books on my bookshelves to be either A, I would want to reread them again, or I am rereading them multiple times, or B, ideally, I would want to reread them again, even if I'm not. So it's like, that's why I'm trying to be conscious as well. And that's why I've narrowed this down to 1 month, so that when I go to the bookstore, because I kind of would want to do it in at most 1 to 2 bookstore trips once this is over. And I don't want to open myself up, even if I have the money to at a specific moment. I don't want to open myself up to like a big splurge, just because it's like I'm the kind of person where it's like, even if I'm happy with my purchases, and I can always just, I'm always able to be like, okay, I'm happy with my purchases, they're going to be put to use, they're going to be read. In the case of books, they're going to be read, they're going to be enjoyed, or I have enjoyed them, so they're kind of trophy copies, and I can reread these now whenever I want. um that, like, there's still a part of me when I like let myself splurge, there's still a small part of my brain that kind of starts spiraling of like, oh my gosh, I just spent so much, I just spent how much on books, I just spent how much on 3 books, I just spent how much on 4 books. So it's like, and I think part of it too, especially with like Barnes and Noble or similar bookstores that have like that kind of a rewards program or membership, I think part of it too is that like you get happy because you see it add up in your account or on like a card or something. And like you see it add up, and then it's like, oh, if I get to this many points, if I get to this many stamps, then I'll get this kind of a reward. I'll get a $5 reward. I'll get a $5 voucher to be able to spend on more books. And if I add it up, then I can basically have free books. But it's like, it's so, because I don't want to open myself to the potential of like just buying all the books in one go, I'm narrowing this down to a 1 month book buying ban, so that way I can kind of limit how many books I'm buying, because I am at the point where I can buy 3 books after this book buying ban. And by the end of May, maybe it would be 4 to 5, 6 at most. But once this is over, what I'm thinking about doing is, once this video will still probably go up in July, just because I think I have a little bit of space. Like I mentioned earlier, I have a little bit of space in July for this video to go up. And so what I'm thinking about doing is, I'll have this video go up in July, and then the next day, which will be Friday. I know I said a date earlier. I don't remember what that date is, but whenever this video is up, whenever you're watching this tomorrow, I'll post like depending on how many books I can buy by the end of this, I'll do like a part 1 and a part 2. So it's like, if it's over 4 books that I'm able to buy after this book buying ban, well, book of the month will actually, well, I want to keep booking that one book, because I want to keep book of the month that one book, because I kind of want to save up the credits to have a little bit of a splurge later. And here I'm talking about splurging, but anyway, we're not talking about that. 2 different conversations. So book of the month will count for 1 book. So basically, at the end of this video, however many books I can buy minus 1 book, I might divide it into 2 videos, just to make sure I'm not going crazy with spending. So that's the game plan, and hopefully I'll stick to it. So I'm gonna write it down below in the description, so it'll be in the description to remind me that that's the plan. So yeah, I will see you all when I have another update. And again, I'm still reading The Bone Thief by Vanessa Lilly, and then The Attic Child by Lil J. So those will be 2 more books, and that's why at this point I'm projected to buy 4 books at least. It might hit closer to 5. So yeah, I do have my book of the month edition of the Roll of the Dice reading blog going, so that will also really help. And also, another part of why I'm doing these book buying bans is largely to force myself to A, read some more books off of my bookshelf, and B, to borrow more from the library because we're trying to be conscious with our spending. I'm trying to be conscious with my spending. And thankfully, with my bookshelf, I am at a point where a majority of my books are read. Thankfully, I think it's sitting around 80 to 85% right now of my books that are currently read on my bookshelf, and including my Lord of the Rings section over here. I had to find my hand. um, so it's like 80 to 85%. And by the time I'm done with my Book of the Month edition of the Roll of the Dice reading vlog, and by the time this video is over, that number will go up a little bit, depending on. I think this video will probably finish before the Roll of the Dice reading vlog. So it'll go up either way, my percentage. So I'm doing really good so far with that. And like I said, the other part of doing a video like this is to try to borrow from the library more, which I am doing. I think I made a post about it today actually on my Instagram, so I'll link that down below in the description of what I have on hold in Libby and in the Los Angeles Public Library app. I think I have 3 books on hold physical through the LAPL app, and I always want to say Lapple app. Anyway, the Lapple app. That sounds Lapple app. The Lapple app. And then I'm not quite sure how many I have on hold through Libby, but I have quite a few. So it's like I'm trying to utilize my local libraries more. So, which we are doing. So, based on how everything's going, this book buying van is going really well. And we're only a week into this. We are literally 7 days into this. So we are doing really well. So I might slow it down a little bit, but I'm not too worried about slowing down because, like I said, I'm in a really good reading mood right now, so that's what we're going to focus on. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I'll come back to you when I have another update, whether it's to finish up this video or to update you. I don't think I'm going to update you again with what books I have read until the very end of this video, along with like this, doing the statistics again of what I've read versus not read on my bookshelves, and then owned versus unowned on my 2026 reading stuffs. So yeah, I'll do that at the end. So because I think we are getting to over the hour mark now. But yeah, I will give you guys an update when I have one. Okay, so I am going to start wrapping up this video here. It is a new week, and I did my laundry, so this is like a clean shirt. I've been missing Disneyland, so I was like, I need to wear my TQM shirt a little bit longer, so another week. Fresh shirt, clean shirt. Did my laundry this past weekend, so yeah, there's that. But I'm gonna talk about the books I unhauled next in the next one, since I recorded that before recording this one. But I wanted to talk about just like everything else that I did for the 1 month book buying van. So the books that I read, and then the books that I'm currently reading, and then unhauled will be the next section after this, and I'll wrap it up there. So books that I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books, and I'm currently reading 3 books at the time that the end of this video is recorded. So to go over the books that also, this is an iPad. I do want to get myself an e-reader, and I talked about this in a video that I posted in May. I think it's June when this video's out, but I am looking into getting an e-reader. It's going to be a while before I can get one, but I am looking into getting one. The Barnes & Noble Nook might be the best option for me. However, with the CEO being open to selling AI books, quote-unquote books, like, that's why I'm a little bit hesitant. I still might get a Barnes & Noble Nook, just for the sake of having it. And if I want to buy any ebooks from Barnes& Noble or buy my ebooks through Barnes& Noble, I would have it accessible there. But I might go with a Kobo. So, yeah. I'm a little bit less sure about getting the Nook now because of the CEO's comments, but we're just gonna roll with it, see how it all goes. I might get both and then use and promote the Kobo more. We'll see how it all goes. But for the books that I read during this book buying ban, like I said, I read 13. So, The Lighthouse at the End of the World by Philip A. Sugars, The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, Magic Knight Rares Part 1, Volumes 1 through 3, and then Magic Knight Earth Part 2, Volumes 1 through 3. And then I also read Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Barber, The Bone Thief by Vanessa Lilly, The Attic Child by Lola J, and The Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, and then last but not least, Shake Out the Ghosts by L. Hess. I'm not going to talk about these too much just because it's like I've talked about them before, or I've talked about most of these books before, except for maybe Shake Out the Ghosts. But overall, it was a really good reading month, and hopefully we're on a roll. So with that, I can buy 1, 2, 3, 4 books. What I'm currently reading, I'm reading Where They Last Saw Her by Marcy R. Rundon, Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson, and then The Quarter Queen by Kayla Hardy. So for the book buying ban, the 3 books that I'm currently reading will not factor into how many books I can get because I'm currently reading them, and they probably won't be finished up until this. I am going to have this go through until May 31st. I think it's currently May 27th right now. So, yeah, it's just like I wanted to just, since we're nearing the end of May, I just wanted to finalize this video. So, that's where we're at. And like I said, I'm still currently reading those, so those won't factor into how many books I can buy. But anyway, so like I said, I can buy 1, 2, 3, 4 books, and I'll talk about this a little bit more when I get to the unhaul section, but I unhauled 8 books, which means I can add 2 more books to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can buy 6 books in total. And I know that in my notes area, I mentioned that if oh Jesus Christ, words, it's been a long day. If I can buy 4 books or less, then I would do it in 1 haul. If it's 5 or more, then I would do it in 2 hauls. But given that it's 6 books, and I want to try to focus on manga specifically for this, I might try to do it in 1 haul, but well, I'm going to see how everything goes. But I wanted to say this now as well, is what I'm going to try to focus on. I'm just trying to give you as clear a view as possible. So what I'm going to try to focus on is Apothecary Diaries, Yashahime, Delicious in Dungeon, Fruits Basket, and Inuyasha. So those are the main ones I'm going to focus on. So that would be 1, 2, 1 for this, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be 6 if I do this one. If I just focus on the shelf specifically, because I need 8, 9, and 10 for Yoshihime. But 1, 2, let's say I just do 1 for each of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 bucks. I might do it at that because I do. Oh yeah, it's minus 1 book of the month book, so that would be 5 bucks. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I think works out. So yeah, I like just depending on like how things go financially. Like it's been pretty decent. It hasn't been great, but it's been pretty decent. And depending on how things go, I might break it up into 2 just for financial purposes. However, that's kind of the plan, to focus on manga so that maybe I can do it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And also I have like 2 books that I'm thinking about pre-ordering. $3 that I'm thinking about pre-ordering, but I'm probably gonna do those after this, or at least I'm gonna do two of them after this haul. Um, and by the time this is up and out, and by the time this is over, at least for one of them, it'll be out, so I can just buy it. Um, so it might be four, so I'll just have to figure out which four I want to go for. Apothecary Diaries, Yashihime, and Delicious in Dungeon would be the most feasible because Fruits Basket costs $20. I'm not including like my manhwa, so not including Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation or Heaven of Fish's Blessing, since I am working on building some really pretty editions, or the graphic novels. So this section right here, I'm not including those ones just because these ones tend to be a little bit pricier first off, like 20. These are like same height, different. It's on the green one, I think. Yeah, different widths, but they're both $20, which I'm fine paying for. Like I'm fine paying for that, but I'm not focusing on those ones. Um, so yeah, the Apothecary Diaries, Yashihime, and Delicious Dungeon might be the safest way to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'd either be those three to get the $5, or it would be one of each, and I can pre-order or buy the other $2 that I'm thinking about. One is by Natasha Lester, one is by Aaron Mankey, and then there's a third by it's Volume 2. It's The Bells of Wrath by J.C. Lynn, which is book 2 of the For Whom the Bell Tolls, the Hell's Bell series. But that one, I had the audiobook pre-ordered already, and that one, I'm gonna wait until a little bit closer to. It's not coming out until like 2027, I think. So I'm gonna wait a little bit closer to when that comes out to pre-order the physical book. But yeah, that's the game plan, and to move on to the books that I actually unhauled, and I'll see you wrapping this video up in like 1 second. Okay, so I think I found a good setup. It's literally just like a stack of stuff. Uh, for being able to record on the floor and have a good enough balance, because what I did the last time I recorded on the floor is I used my chair, um, which wasn't like the best balance because it like goes downward for like my area. But anyway, so I haven't added another little note to the bookbinding rules note section. Um, and also doing this is actually like a really good test because I am using, excuse me, I am using my mic, and so far it has been very good about noise canceling and making sure that the AC unit isn't heard and that it's making my voice that is heard. Oh, excuse me. I was trying to pause and then it didn't. So anyway, so this is actually really good because the AC unit is on the floor kind of close to my bookshelf area. It's not super close, but it's like close enough that when I'm on the floor, it's like really loud. Whereas like if I'm standing, because we have like a little vanity table over the AC unit, it's not blocked or anything, but we have a little vanity table over where the AC unit is. Um, so like if I'm standing on another area of my room, it's kind of buffered by that. But sitting down here, it's not buffered by that. So this is a little good little test for it. But anyway, back to the bookbinding ban. I have added another little note, and you can see in the description there's like an unhaul section. So if and when I unhaul any books in these types of videos, in these bookbinding videos, if I unhaul any books, I will include them down below in the description. And the note that I've added is for every 4 books. I might increase this, but for right now I'm doing every 4 books. So for every 4 books that I unhaul, I can buy another book. So I can add another book to my list. So as of right now, at least, I have, I think, read 12 books roughly during this bookbinding ban, which means I can buy 4. And I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 books right now, which means I can add another 2 books to I can buy post bookbinding ban, which would mean 6 books. Again, as of right now, we still have another week week and some change of May. So it's probably going to stay at that. And with the books that I'm recalling, it's probably going to stay at week 2. But I wanted to go through them real quick because I think we're going to try to donate them soon. And I was going to do this at the end of the video. I might still include this clip at the end of the video, just to kind of like wrap it up, um, or near the end of the video as part of the wrap up. So I wanted to go over this now, do this clip now, record it at the very least now. It is the 21st, I believe, of May, and I wanted to record this now because, like I said, we're gonna try. I'm gonna donate them soon because I think my mom is gonna stop somewhere to donate some other stuff, so I might include these books with that. So, with all that said, let's get into the books that I'm gonna follow in this video. Again, it's 8 books. So, yeah. Anyway, the first book is Storybook Ending by Moira McDonald. I did really love it for this. I wasn't feeling this. I think I might actually gift this one to my friend though. But I am gonna be unfollowing this one. I think, like I said, I think this one's just gonna go to my friend. So I am borrowing one for books actually. This one right here, part of the meditation. Yeah. So I'm thinking of surprising her with her own book for her birthday and then adding this in there. So yeah, so there's this book, which I'm gonna stick up here because I want to keep her books together. But the other books I'm gonna stick back down, and then, or I think I'm gonna stick them in a spot where I think I know where I can put them. Anyway, so the next 7 books are most likely going to go to a donation center where they can hopefully find some good homes where they'll be better loved. The first one is, I kind of hate giving this one up because it's like I did read it and enjoy it. It's just at this point it's just sitting on my shelf, and like I didn't, like I said, I don't know. No, it's kind of reflecting. I'll let this reflect a little bit. Um, maybe it's reflecting on me. Anyway, so it's like I did like it when I read it. It's just like at this point in my life, it's like it's not something I'm like super enthusiastic about. I don't talk about it a whole lot. Like it's not like it's just not something that like I'm excited. Like not that I'm not excited to talk about it. I'm just not excited about it. Like I'm not the opposite of excited to talk about it. Like I don't dread talking about it. Like I'll bring it up in conversations, but it's like I don't actively get really excited to talk about it. I'm not super enthusiastic when I talk about it. But to get to the point, it's The Wicked Wit of Ireland by Miles Byrne. Excuse me. So it's just like a bunch of quips, quotes, and anecdotes and stories that capture the essence of Irish humor. And like again, it was a fun little read. It's just I think as of right now, it's not really encapsulating my full taste in literature. So it's like, yeah. So there's that book. Right now, I'm just sticking them to the left over here on the bookshelf. The next book is Murder at Holly House by Denzel Merrick, and I had a pretty decent time with this. It's it's set around Christmas, but it's not very Christmassy, and like it's very Christmas title, very Christmassy cover, supposedly Christmassy setting. Not really my thing though. Well, I would love to have like a cozy Christmas murder mystery, but it's like this. I feel like I had a good time with it. I just wasn't super enthused about it. It's like I very rarely talk about this, so it's like it's not that I'm mad or upset about it. It's just I rarely talk about it. So you know, uh, I think it would do a lot better at another person's house. Um, so yeah, Murder at Holly House. And then also the reason why I'm doing this is like, there might be a title that interests you, and by me mentioning these, and it's kind of like anti-recommendations where it's like I didn't enjoy these, but someone enjoyed them because I mentioned them and I talked about them. I'm not giving descriptions for any of these because some of these I have already talked about, and others I maybe mentioned once or twice, but because I've been calling them, I'm like, I just kind of like title and author and done type of a deal. But the next one is one I have talked about in one of the Roll of the Dice written vlogs, 640 to Montreal by Ava Jersey. I don't know how to say her last name, and I'm so sorry. I do still think, I don't remember which Roll of the Dice written vlog it's in, but I do still think that this was a right book, good book, wrong type of a deal. I think murder mysteries, mystery thrillers have been working better for me as audiobooks, so I might need to just borrow this from Libby and give it a shot that way. And like this one too, I can like support the author a little bit better without putting full financial risk on my end by buying like another book by her and having it not work out. And again, like kind of like with uh, Murder at Holly House and this book and the other books I'm gonna mention, I think it'll just do better at another house and in another home and comfortable and cozy on another bookshelf. So next up, now these three of the next four books are books I have not talked about for a while on my channel. Um, one of them I have talked about recently, but three of them are ones I have not talked about for a while, and it's not with these three. It's not that I didn't enjoy them. It's just that I have kind of like moved on from this kind of literature and these kinds of stories. And funnily enough, it's not. And this is where it gets a little bit weird for me because it's like at least these three authors are all black authors, and it's like it's not that I didn't enjoy these stories. I did. It's just I'm at a point in my life where, like I've mentioned quite a few other videos on my channel and upcoming videos as well. It's like I'm trying to have my bookshelves represent what I'm excited to read at that given point in my life. And what these three books, while I did really enjoy them, they're not fully representative of my current tastes. And like with the other books I mentioned, I think they would do better on other bookshelves and in other homes with other people. So, like that for these three books, that is the largest reason why I prefer them. And I'm all for advocating for reading diversely, diversifying the reading shelf, both in authors and in stories and in formats. So, the first book is Lone Woman by Victor Laval. All of the next four books, including this one, are all book competitions. But yeah, anyway, so Victor Laval's Lone Woman, I did really enjoy this, and I'm surprised by how much I enjoyed it. It just, I think this one's more of like a horror sci-fi-ish and sci-fi-ish, maybe not quite horror, but definitely mystery thriller, sci-fi adjacent type of deal. I haven't read a whole lot of horror, so I wouldn't know if this is actually like horror or not. I don't like. It wasn't really horror. It wasn't really giving horror vibes to me. But anyway, that's besides the point. This I did really enjoy it when I read it. I did really enjoy it when I read it, and I would still highly recommend this one. It's just, like I said, it's not fully representative of my tastes now, and it's not something that I see myself grabbing for again and wanting to read again. And that's something else I've mentioned for this book and the next two books. Like, what I'm also trying to do is for the books on my bookshelf, on my physical bookshelves, are the like the question I ask myself is like, are these books that I could see myself grabbing and picking up again and wanting to read, even if I don't actually read it again? Is it something that I see myself wanting to read again and wanting to read multiple times again, even if I don't actually read it again? And like a good antithesis to this, antithesis is the right word, is the parasol. Now I know with 100% certainty that I could never read this again with how much it made me feel. Like in a good way, but it's like it made me feel a lot. But it's like I ideally I would love to pick this up again. I would want to pick this up again and read it, but I know that I couldn't. But with with Little Women and with the next two books, I could. I wouldn't be opposed to picking them up again, but I'm not like fully inclined to do so. I'm not enthusiastic about picking them up again and reading them again. So that's also why. Ooh, my things are in movement. Okay, I'm back. My mic was dying, so I had to grab the secondary one. Um, so as I was saying, like with these books, these aren't necessarily ones that I see myself picking back up and wanting to pick back up again. So Little Women still highly recommend it. It is a really fantastic story. It's fantastically told. It's just no longer representative of me, I feel. So the next book, River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shear. Again, this made me feel the works of stuff and emotions. But unlike with the Paris Orphan, I kind of don't see myself wanting to pick this up again. So that's why this one's going as well. And really fantastic story, really beautifully told, very heart wrenching, just no longer representative of me. And then the third book that falls under this category, the second to last book, is Take My Hand by Dawn Perkins Valdez. And I did really love the story, but it's just like I feel like it could be useful elsewhere. I feel like it could touch more people and do good in other homes. So that's it. And then the very last book that I have to talk or mention is I had my alarm went off, so it stopped the recording. I did this in my book of the month edition of the Roll of the Dice reading blog, which at the time I'm recording this, I'm still working on that. I'm going to try to wrap it up soon though. But I did this book in that video. I DNF'd this, and I think I DNF'd this. And I was kind of upset that I did, but I definitely fell for the hype, and it just wasn't for me, even though I kind of figured it wouldn't be for me. And that is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey, however you say the last name. And I say that with all due respect. I've had a little bit of a headache, but I still wanted to record this part. But yeah, I fell for the hype. I bought it, and it did not work out for me. I feel like I do talk about it a little bit more in the book of the month edition, the Roll of the Dice reading blog. But I did think that this would have been better as a murder mystery lit fic rather than just a mystery lit fic, because it's like it has the perfect setting for a closed door murder mystery, basically. Even though it wouldn't be like a closed door because it's not in a house or in a room, but like they're isolated on an island near Antarctica, so it's like it would have been perfect closed door because like you don't know who could be doing it, but there's only so many people that could be doing it. So it's like that's why it's like it could have been perfect, but it didn't work out for me. So that and that is it for. I think I am going to use this clip at the end of the video. Oh no, things are falling. I didn't realize how much was landing on me. Um, so I think I am going to put this clip at the end, and I'll work stuff around with how I edit this video and what clips go where. But if you made it this far in the video, let me know if book buying bands work for you. Let me know how they work for you or how you get them to work for you, or if they just straight up don't work for you. I think for me, it's like they work in the sense of I just have to put myself on the general buying ban, and that helps. Or like a general buying ban in the sense of not buying things that are unnecessary. And books are a luxury. They're necessary in the sense that they are part of my hobby and that they are stories in a way to broaden your worldview and broaden your perspectives. And they're a necessity in the sense of it's a good way to unwind and detox from the day. But it's like they are a luxury. And with the increasing price of books, they are definitely a luxury. So it's like it would be kind of like under that buying ban of not buying things that aren't necessities. So like things that aren't groceries, things that aren't related to like household chores and that kind of a deal. Where it's like if the money's not going towards that, then it's just like a buying ban. So it's like overall book buying bans, I was kind of like against them. But it's like I'm still like against them in the sense of like as long as it's not hurting anybody, which usually it's not, as long as it's not hurting anybody, it's not a big deal where your money goes. Well, it is. It is a big deal where your money goes. But it's like in terms of like spending money on specific hobbies, it's not a huge deal where your money goes. Um, and again, like as long as you're not hurting people, it's not a huge deal, and it's no one else's business. Again, in terms of like hobbies and making sure that you're staying alive and doing what you need to stay alive and stay as healthy as possible, it's not a huge deal. And sometimes you have to do what you need to do. So it's like that kind of deal. Anyway, I'm diverging. I'm going on a tangent. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.